Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm your boy Abram, joined as usual by Tucker Hazel. And today we're here to do something special. Today we're
Oh,
here to rip off Arlo.
yes.
Essentially, what we're doing today is we are talking about our detailed predictions for Nintendo's 2021. And then I think, in true Arlo fashion, we'll come back at the end of the year and see how right we were. Because I think that's kind of fun. I think that's one
Yeah.
of his great ideas. Arlo, friend of the channel, not really, I wish he
No,
was.
that'd be
Uh,
awesome.
but he's one of our favorite YouTubers. So we're kind of inspired to do this. And we love talking about Nintendo. And we love talking about Nintendo with our community. So after we share our predictions, we're going to be sharing some of the predictions of our friends in our Discord. And if you want to join the Backlog Banter Discord, talk with us, and get featured in videos, be sure to join us. The link is always in the description.
It's literally
But
the first
Tucker,
thing in the
literally the
automatically
first.
generated description that I have. Yeah.
Absolutely join us there. But in the meantime, join us as we go through our predictions. And Tucker, I have 11 predictions. Some are pretty safe, some are a little bit more out there. A lot of them are specific games, but I have a couple non-game predictions. So I'm going to start with those.
Okay.
Do you want me to hit you with the first one right off the bat,
Yeah,
right off the
sure. Because
top?
actually, I have 10. I
Okay,
just I just went through the list I made.
go
I
for it.
pulled this out of my ass in the last 10 minutes, so this is gonna be great. But yeah, we'll just flip flop. Hit me up.
Okay. There will be no traditional Nintendo Directs in 2021.
Okay.
That's my first prediction.
I'm
And
gonna write these
I
down.
I actually think I also have a Word doc that I can share with you, so you don't have to write them down if you don't want to. I do not think that Directs are ever coming back. I think this got telegraphed to us in the latter half of the year, and I think I wrote about this for CBR back in October, so I'm safe. It's on the record that I've not only believed this but think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a bigger discussion about whether or not we think Direct should come back, but we got this sort of telegraphed that Nintendo was doing something different, and then early this year, I think the fact that we got, you know, the Bowser's Fury stuff separate from the new Pokemon Snap trailer, separate from some of the third-party stuff like Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, which is actually a pretty big deal to be coming to Switch. It's pretty clear that Nintendo is done with Directs because that's a mini Direct right there.
Yeah.
Shove all that together, put that
Easy.
Persona 5 Strikers trailer in there, and that's a mini Direct. But we didn't get that.
And
I
a good
think
one at
Directs are
that.
totally
Yeah.
done. Yeah, it would have been great, but I think Directs are completely done.
Well, I honestly don't have too much to say about that. I think it's a little too nebulous for me to want to put down a prediction of what Nintendo's going to do this year. I think last year
Sure.
was possibly a special case, but also maybe they've sort of learned from last year and they're like, hey, this actually kind of worked for us. So we'll have to
I
wait and
mean,
see.
that Bowser's Fury trailer shot to #1 trending on all of YouTube,
Yeah.
Like that's powerful. And if
Mhm.
you can do that for individual trailers several times a week, that's
Sure.
way better than one direct that's probably going to trend, but it's going to get like half of its content buried.
Hmm.
So it's understandable. I think for the better. We'll talk about this later, but Tucker hit me with a prediction.
All right. So this is going to be my most disappointing one, but I think this is
Okay.
true. I think the Pokemon that comes out this year is not Diamond and Pearl remakes, and that's about it. That's where I land on it. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know what it is. I don't want to land it specifically, but this is more of a not prediction.
So I guess we'll be swapping a little bit of spit here if we get into the similar predictions. So I'll jump ahead because when I get to my game predictions, I broke them down by season. I was going to kind of go in order.
Oh,
But
okay.
for this,
I didn't. I wasn't that smart with mine.
it doesn't matter. It's okay. But I do think that Diamond and Pearl remakes are coming this year, and I think that they are going to be one of the big holiday games. I just think that the Pokemon Company is not some kind of elusive dragon. They're
Mhm.
very easy to predict. And what Pokemon Company, I think, recognizes for as much as people want to say they're tone deaf, they listen. And they know that they need a win of some variety. And Diamond and Pearl remakes, solid Diamond and Pearl remakes are a great way to get a lot of fan goodwill back. And
Mhm.
as we've talked about before, with the usual development cycles of a new gen, it's not time for Gen 9 yet.
No, of course not.
And I don't think that I don't think even Pokemon Company would go, let's go, Sword and Shield, let's go again. I think they recognize that they need something a little bit heavier. And I think that heavier thing is Diamond and Pearl remakes. I think it's way past time.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else they would put there instead. And they're not going to go another year without a main game. So I think Diamond and Pearl remakes this holiday are pretty much guaranteed, at least in my eyes.
Okay. Well, I disagree, but whatever.
If
So
I can ask quickly, because I'm a little bit curious, what do you think the game would be instead? Or do you think that just new Snap, maybe another spin-off, Detective Pikachu 2 or
I actually
something?
think that the spinoffs would be carrying this year.
Okay.
I think that the possibility of something a little bit larger, even if that is a Let's Go Johto, I think is a little more likely. I think capitalizing on that kind of nostalgia, the more
Yeah,
large serious nostalgia for the older games is going to be, it's an anniversary. Look, guys, it's uh
sure.
Johto, and you can also play Kanto in it because it's a remake of Gold and Silver. Whatever. That kind of thing, I think works a little bit better in my mind with what the Pokemon company sees as Pokemon nostalgia.
Yeah,
And Gen 4 is such an interesting spot. We haven't gotten a actual remake in 2 generations. So the patterns are already broken. The Let's Go formula has been inserted in there. We have DLC now. There's all sorts of wrenches being thrown in. So for some reason, I just don't feel that Diamond and Pearl remakes are on the way. I'd be happy to be proven wrong though. This is the one that I'm least confident about, but certainly be happy to prove them wrong.
this is why before we move on to the next prediction, whatever the fuck Pokemon Company does is going to be really interesting because I'd be happy to be proven wrong and get a Let's Go Johto because I'd prefer that
Mm-hmm.
to a Diamond Pearl remake. So
Card in the corner. We made a video about what the future of the Pokemon series is. That was a long time ago. Jesus Christ.
that was a long time ago.
Um. So I'm just gonna count your thing, what you've said about Diamond and Pearl as your prediction. So
Yeah.
hop into another one of mine. Uh, No More Heroes 3 comes out and it's underwhelming.
So I actually didn't put any predictions about games that are like already confirmed.
Oh
Um,
well.
so no, just to let you know. So I'm not gonna have any crossover if you talk about more of those, but I think you're completely right.
Yeah.
I really hope that Suda modernizes No More Heroes and adds a little bit more meat to that bone. And I'm gonna play the game regardless, probably.
Interesting.
I hate to say it, but I think you're probably right.
Yeah, I mean, having the touchstone that I have now with the original No More Heroes,
Yeah,
of course, that's the original. It's from lots of console generations ago. There's been changes since, but knowing that and knowing that the general consensus for Travis Strikes again was not positive. I mean, we have the fucking one dissenting voice in the room right here.
yes.
But I think generally this game's come out. It's going to be all flash and very little substance, and people are gonna, I don't know, realize that maybe No More Heroes wasn't the fucking star that it always was, or they thought
Yeah,
that.
well, we'll see. We'll see. I hope Suda can land a really solid hit here, but I'm not sure. My last non-game specific prediction is that we're going to get Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance titles on Nintendo Switch online. And I
That'd be
think that's going
great.
to happen this spring. I don't think N64 is going to come over because I think that the N64 games are too valuable for
Sure.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
I think they recognize through 3D All Stars that whether they bundle these into collections or even do something like dropping Ocarina and Majora just on the eShop,
Mhm.
I think they recognize that there's more value to be held there,
I
and
totally agree.
they'll fucking throw us GB and GBA games, which I think would be pretty cool. I think those have some pretty
Same
rich
here.
libraries, especially GBA.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm anticipating that. I'm not anticipating N64 on NSO.
For me, I've got a couple other ones that aren't game specific, so I'll just knock those off as well.
Sure.
I think that Nintendo doesn't properly celebrate the Metroid or Kid Icarus anniversaries. I think they're too focused on Pokemon, Zelda, and Donkey Kong, and Metroid and Kid Icarus are gonna be like a funny JPEG on Twitter one day.
I think you're totally right about Kid Icarus. I think Kid Icarus is fucked, unfortunately. Um, we'll get to Metroid. I do think they will celebrate Metroid's anniversary. I think that Prime 4 kind of telegraphed that they care about Metroid, and I think they understand the potential of Metroid.
Mhm.
So I do think they will celebrate that. I do agree that they will be preoccupied completely with
Yes.
Zelda.
And I think
Um,
that's the sort of point that I was making there is
yeah,
not that they won't do anything for either of those. Metroid, I think something like a Prime Trilogy collection or some sort of if they put Fusion and Zero Mission in GBA online like
yeah,
as a separate thing, like hey, it's Metroid anniversary. I think those sort of things are possible, but I think properly is the key word there because we're probably going to get relatively large blowouts for Zelda, Pokemon, and I'm thinking Donkey Kong. I just think 40 years is kind of a big enough thing for them to be like, hey, Donkey Kong's a
yeah,
big thing. Um, so I think those three are big enough to unfortunately sideline the other two.
yeah. That makes sense. Let's use this now as a perfect example to talk about my first prediction for a spring 2021 game, and that's a new 2D Metroid. I really think that it's absolutely going to happen, and the reason I do is because Nintendo has curated a team to do it. Mercury Steam released Samus Returns to critical success, not commercial success, but that is absolutely on Nintendo for releasing that game on 3DS after Switch.
Yeah, I agree. I would have played it
But
if it was on Switch.
yeah, and it was a really solid game. I never finished it, so I'm part of the problem. But I bought the special edition, so I did my part. Uh, but Mercury Steam released a very good game. Regardless of the market conditions they were released into, they proved themselves as a team capable of doing Metroid. And I think the fact that that team has been completely quiet now for 4 years, and
Sure.
the fact that rumors have been so persistent, tells me that we are going to get a new 2D Metroid. And I really do think Mercury Steam is going to be developing it. And I really believe it's going to be a brand new game.
Fun fact, they have not been quiet for 4 years. They also put out a game called Space Lords.
Yeah, but you know, in the context of them releasing something of
Also, the
actual
developers of Clive Barker's Jericho and
right.
American McGee presents Scrapland.
See, what's so interesting about Mercury Steam is they released like the Mirrors of Fate and Lords of Shadow Castlevania games, which were solid and people liked them to an
Mhm.
extent. But then they did Samus Returns, and I think Nintendo scouted them similar to how they scouted Grezzo. And I do think that
Sure.
whatever fucking Space Wizard game you just talked about doesn't discount the fact that they have
No,
been,
of course
yeah,
not.
largely
I just
quiet.
I had never heard of those games. I honestly
Sure.
I hadn't even heard the name Mercury Steam even in relation to Samus Returns, but because I
Yeah.
wasn't really into that game's hype cycle or release or anything. So I was just looking up what they had done and just looking back and finding what the fuck are these?
Sure.
Let's
But
get
I think
remakes of those.
I would prefer a remake of that to a Metroid remake because Metroid spawned a genre. The
Mhm.
genre blossomed and Metroid disappeared.
Yeah.
I think it's time for a modern Metroid game in the context of the modern Metroidvania craze.
Oh yeah.
Mercury Steam, I really think can deliver, and I think Nintendo is going to position them to deliver. And the rumors have been so persistent. I think spring we're going to see a 2D Metroid.
This next one is the game that I'm most confident about coming out this year.
Okay,
Super Mario Party 2.
also
I
on my
think
list.
okay, so we can just form these into one nebulous little bubble
Yeah,
here. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that we haven't gotten more Mario Party. I think Super Mario Party was an interesting foundation and sort of soft reboot for the series. Um, and why doesn't the Switch have more of these spin-off games? Honestly, I mean, just knowing how frequently they came out in past generations, it's time for another one, especially with more content, more development power under now that they're more used to the Switch, that kind of thing. I think that Super Mario Party 2 is a lock.
yeah. This is one that I've written about for CBR because I'm very confident in, and I think it is. This is the one that I'm most surprised hasn't happened because Mario Party was pretty close to being annualized for a long time
Mhm.
between Hudson and then ND Cube. Of course, ND Cube made Clubhouse Games, my fucking beloved Clubhouse Games, wonderful title. But I think it's time for them to return to Mario Party. And what my opinion on Super Mario Party is that it was a great foundation and all of its issues were content level. And not many
Yeah,
problems with the game were systemic. It was the fact that that game was just too shallow.
yeah,
So I think you take Super Mario Party and you actually put some meat on that bone,
yeah.
and you get a really solid game. And I think that's going to release in fall. That's my prediction this fall.
Okay, so we're just nebulizing that all together.
Yeah, we'll just
So
nebulize that one.
so I'll go for my next one.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a weird one because
yeah,
I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed. I don't think anyone's questioning this, but Detective Pikachu 2. I mean, they talked about it. I think it's got to come out. Like, what the fuck? That was announced 2 years ago, and it was like literally
yeah.
just a logo. So either that or it's not fucking happening at all.
My headcanon is that they're holding it until the next movie comes out, kind of release them, get a little synergy
Oh,
together. And
hmm.
I bet COVID has fucked it up. Ryan Reynolds is busy doing Free Guy or whatever the fuck nonsense he's doing.
For the
So I
movie,
bet,
you mean? Yeah.
yeah, for the movie. And of course, once you get all of that laid out and COVID gets you doing some more production work and you get that movie solid, you release Detective Pikachu 2 to coincide with it. I think that's
Yeah,
probably what
sure.
they're doing. So I
All
don't
right.
think it's
Well,
coming in 2021.
well, fucking there goes my prediction because you just. Yeah, I mean, I agree actually now.
You know what
Whatever.
I do think is coming in 2021? And this game would there is not Nintendo could there's nothing Nintendo could announce that would be more exciting for me outside of Star Fox than this. But Star Fox is not
And
happening.
Tuna Metroid.
No, this is more exciting to me than 2D Metroid. Splatoon 3, summer 2021. I think we're getting Splatoon 3.
Hmm.
Now, here's the deal. And I wrote about this for CVR also, but that piece isn't out yet. This video might beat that piece to market. I Splatoon is on the precipice of becoming an S tier Nintendo franchise.
I
If you
agree.
look at it in terms of sales potential, Splatoon 2 sold a little over 11 million units, which
Mhm,
is fucking insane.
mhm.
Splatoon 1 sold 6 million units, right? And Splatoon 2 released largely to prop up the Switch. A lot of its forward sales momentum was unfortunately shoved into the ground by the fact that the Switch's install base was pretty small, right?
Yeah.
The 2017 Switch and 2021 Switch are very different in terms of install bases. And you look at what Splatoon already did. Then you look at the fact that that Splatoon 2 launched 4 years ago,
Yeah.
and a dedicated post-launch support ended a year ago as of this summer. It ended last July.
Mhm.
So you release Splatoon 3 this summer, then you've gone basically a year without an active Splatoon game. And 4 years since last launched the last one, you have this huge install base that drives, I really think, Splatoon 3's sales to the upper teens in terms of millions of copies sold.
Sure.
And at the same time, you have a lot of hype to capitalize on, and you have a lot of post-launch announcements and updates and releases that keep that game and Nintendo and the Switch at the forefront of people's minds in the news cycle. You do what you did with an Animal Crossing or a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, right, in terms of DLC post-launch support. Nintendo needs another game that can kind of carry those headlines after release. Splatoon is the perfect game to do that. I think Splatoon has enormous potential. Splatoon 2 is already a phenomenal game. But in the current Switch landscape, it could be even bigger. And I really think that the quietness of the development team signals to me that they're working, of course, on the next Splatoon project. And I
Yeah.
think it comes out now. I think now is the perfect time to release it.
Now, my only caveat with this is I'm thinking I'm remembering correctly that the Splatoon team is also the Mario Kart team.
The Splatoon team is kind of like from what I understand, an amalgamation of a little bit of the Animal Crossing team, a little bit of the Mario Kart team.
Okay.
There's a lot of pieces of that puzzle, and I think personally, with Nintendo's restructuring of their development teams back in 2015, they can have a little bit more moving pieces. And I just don't think that you let other projects get in the way of this game. And obviously,
Yeah.
Splatoon 2 didn't get in the way of Animal Crossing because Animal Crossing wasn't developed in a year and a half. You know, I think you delegate resources, you delegate whatever you need to make sure Splatoon 3 is ready. And I
Sure.
think it's going to be. And I think I truly believe that Splatoon can have a similar glow up to Animal Crossing with New Horizons, where it
Sure.
becomes suddenly the promising A tier Nintendo franchise to the S tier behemoth. And
Yeah.
I really think this summer is the year it's going to happen.
I mean, that would be pretty exciting to me. Splatoon 2, one of my favorite games. I'm honestly in some ways I'm kind of glad I didn't play too much of Splatoon 1 because I do recognize the similarities that 2 has. I'm hoping that
Yeah,
3 does have an even bigger whatever something in there
yeah.
that spins it off and makes it feel like okay, this is the next step for the franchise instead of just a continuation of the track. But we'll have to see for that one. Here's the another really low effort, low stakes prediction.
All right.
I think we get a new Mario sports game, probably golf.
Mario Sports probably golf. I debated with this. I think, yeah, that's pretty safe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
I,
very safe.
it's very safe. I mean, Camelot hasn't released a game since Aces, you know, so
Mhm.
they could have been tooling away on maybe golf. My hope is baseball, but that's more Bandai Namco's camp, and they're doing new Pokemon Snap.
Yep.
I mean, now Productions is specifically the team in Bandai that did the fucking Mario baseball game, so they could be doing one. I didn't put that down as a prediction, but I think you're probably right. It's
Mhm.
probably going to be golf. I would rather it's baseball, but probably golf.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know the last Mario golf game. It's some 3DS probably.
It was Island Tour in 2013 on 3DS.
That's a fucking long time ago. That's almost a decade
Yeah.
without a Mario golf game. Okay.
Uh, I mean, it might have been in Sports Mix, but nobody
Well,
fucking played or liked
was
Sports
was
Mix.
there golf in there? Yeah, there
Sports
was.
Mix had horse
Yeah,
racing.
I
That's
know
all I
it did.
remember.
Yeah. All right, hit me.
I'm going to hit you with.
Hit me like a Polaroid, baby. No, wait. Shake me? What's the fucking line? What's the
I
lyric?
mean, it's got to be Shake Me because you got to shake
Yeah.
Polaroids to have
Okay.
them develop.
Okay. Well, I punched my Polaroids.
This is my wildest prediction I have.
Oh God.
this summer we're gonna get a new Donkey Kong Country game. This is
Okay,
my wildest
yeah,
prediction.
that's pretty reasonable.
The reason it's wild is because I think that either Retro made it or Nintendo focus grouped a fucking 2D platformer team to make a new game, a new Donkey Kong Country game. Somebody's making a Donkey Kong Country game is basically my thesis. The reason I think that's a risky prediction is I'm not sure if Nintendo would allocate the sort of resources, and if it was inside Retro, it seems like they were either doing cocaine or just bashing their hands against their fucking keyboards for 6 years because nothing came out of them. I don't know if just all their games got canceled, but I've got this feeling in my body that somebody's making a Donkey Kong Country game and it's going to release this summer.
Actually, I'm starting. I mean, with your prediction here, I'm starting to think Retro been silent for a long time. They were picked up for Metroid Prime after the production was fucked over. What were they doing at the time? Donkey Kong, pretty safe. Gives them a trilogy of those 2D platformers under their fucking belt.
Yeah.
And what happened is I'm sure they were like, okay, we've got these games coming out. You're starting a Metroid Prime. Donkey Kong, it'll release, it'll do well, but what if we save it for the 40th anniversary? What if we just sit on it? What if we just fucking put a hen on this egg and then release it on the 40th anniversary as, oh shit, look, it's the return of Donkey Kong. We get a 2D platformer.
I mean, that's really that's like a fun and optimistic way to view things. But if I was a stockholder that was like, yes, let's invest in Retro Studios, and then they spent the period of time from like 2014 when they released Tropical Freeze until when they got hired for Metroid Prime 4, and they're like, we made a game, but we're just not going to release it and generate revenue. I don't see that being in the cards,
Okay.
because
Then why do you think it was delayed?
because Retro Studios is a borderline incompetent developer that had a couple good games, which sounds bad, but if you look at the on the record the games they've made 5 Nintendo games that are really good, and then got a shit ton of projects canceled. A lot of Retro's history is canceled projects, and there's just I don't think there's any way to read confidence into a studio that goes from 2014 to being picked up as a second choice for their old franchise in 2018 with a no release and think that things went right.
Yeah.
That's why I don't even know for sure if they made a Donkey Kong game or conceptualizing a Donkey Kong game. I think honestly, if we get a new country game, I bet it's probably not even developed by Retro. That's a side bet. That's a side wager I'm making.
Sure.
But I would not be surprised if there is a new Donkey Kong Country game that was not developed by Retro, and they were either the false flag operation, fucking government psyop, Star Fox Grand Prix, or just some IP that got canceled. Right?
Yeah.
That's one of the wild. I don't even want to talk about Star Fox Grand Prix. Why don't you give me a prediction?
They're just monkeying around over there. Monkey face. Okay, all right. Another really shallow one with no stakes behind it. I'm playing this game safe as fuck, and I'm okay with that. We're getting a new Kirby game. It's 2D, not 3D, unfortunately, and it's got a little bit bigger gimmick this time. It's more of a Planet Robobot Epic Yarn sort of style gimmick. It's not as traditional as a Star Allies, as a Return to Dreamland, as a Triple Deluxe, something like that. New 2D Kirby with emphasis on a gimmick. Not like Canvas Curse kind of gimmick.
Yeah, sure.
It's a platformer 2D Kirby game, but
yeah, I think that's a really good prediction. I should have put that on my list, frankly, because that feels pretty safe. I mean, it's been three years since Star Allies. There have been some like little hints and teases that the Kirby team's working on something. I mean, of course, the Kirby team's working on something.
There's a new Kirby game?
What? I want a 3D Kirby platformer. I don't want you to be right, but you're probably right. Another 2D Kirby platformer, I'll buy it.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. I want 3D, but I just don't know if Nintendo's ready for that. I mean, they've only had Kirby, for 30 years? It's not old enough yet.
That's a great point. Here's probably my favorite prediction on the list. I think the last summer game is going to be a double pack of Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD.
In one
package. In one package, because I don't think you touch those games literally at all. And that's why
the Wii U versions, yes.
Yeah. I think you just stick them together. You already have all of the development done. You fucking change a couple little button prompts and you're completely done. And you even release it, here's like the $80 edition that comes with a little fucking papercraft Ganondorf or something. Who cares, But I think those games come to Switch this year for sure. because it's so easy.
Yeah. I
Uh,
didn't put down any Zelda 35th anniversary
sure.
predictions because we made a separate video about that card in the corner.
Yeah.
But just because I'm sort of all over the place when it comes to how I feel about them re-releasing different Zelda games and the likelihood of said things.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a very reasonable prediction, and I would be very excited to play both of those on Switch.
Right on.
But I'm actually going to go forward another Zelda one is, and I said this in our Zelda other prediction video. I don't think we get Breath of the Wild 2 this year. That's it.
I'll
That's the
I'll
prediction.
I'll hit you with a counter prediction. We're gonna get Breath of the Wild 2 this fall. And I'm gonna roll in another prediction because these have to go together. Breath of the Wild 2 will release on the Super Nintendo Switch. Those two things are gonna release together.
That's such a good fucking name.
It's a great name, and
However, that
also
sounds more like a next console than an upgrade.
I don't necessarily think so. It might. It's fucking all semantics. I also looked up SNS. It doesn't mean anything sexual or bad. It means like social network system or something. So like,
Okay.
that's fine. They can use that abbreviation. Um, I really think this is going to happen. I think Nintendo needs a little bit of a boost under them to propel Switch even higher. I think it's time for Breath of the Wild 2 because the game's clearly being developed in the same engine.
Yeah.
With nothing could be bigger for the 35th anniversary of Zelda than that. I think
I'm fully aware, but that's what scares me. I just don't. I feel like there's something missing there. It's too perfect.
no, that's dumb. Because here's why. It's time to release the next hardware SKU, and when you release a new hardware SKU, you release a new Zelda game with it, and you fucking put a limited edition system out, and everybody buys it. You get a limited edition Super Nintendo Switch and Breath of the Wild 2 they released this fall on Nintendo set. I don't I see there's too much mysticism surrounding Nintendo. I don't think there's any mysticism surrounding this just making sense.
Mhm.
It's been so long since we've seen this game. Clearly, Aonuma is working on it very hard. Sure, COVID derailed them a little bit, but if you're using the same fucking physics engine, using the same map, maybe if you're using so much of the same, you can release that. You can release Breath of the Wild 2 4 years after Breath of the Wild 1.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it. And if you have the incentive of needing a bulky game to release alongside your beefed up piece of hardware,
I know.
fall
Here's the
2021.
thing. I totally understand those points.
Yeah.
I think something falls down in my mind is that they're going to focus on the re-releases of whatever it is for Zelda, and then the 35th anniversary is going to roll into the beginning of next year with the release of Breath of the Wild 2, which doesn't make any sense time wise, but the progression wise is what I'm thinking. But whatever, fucking, we made a predictions video, so.
I just think it's perfect. You pull a Skyward Sword, you say it's a big series anniversary, so we're giving you a big new game, and you get the big new piece of hardware, and it's got a fucking Triforce drawn on it and fucking crayon, so you're gonna buy it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
But now, because I said Super Nintendo Switch, I want to just posit a couple things
Okay.
about that really quickly. Nicer screen,
Mhm.
smaller bezel, thinner device, Bluetooth connectivity, a little bit more powerful, so games run 720p in handheld.
Mhm.
That's all you get.
Nothing
Thanks for
for
playing.
dock mode.
I
Dock
don't
mode
know.
unchanged.
Maybe a little bit more power. Maybe so frame rates don't go to fucking crevices of hell in certain games.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's not a major upgrade.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's reasonable. I mean, Nintendo never been one for that major upgrade anyway. So, but then again, I like the name Super Nintendo Switch a lot, but I think for something that is a less of a full upgrade or next console, I think saving the Super for the real next Switch with major hardware revisions makes a little more sense for me.
The reason I disagree is because I think that you get back onto Wii U territory where that sounds a little too similar. I think you call it
Oh
the
yeah, just like
Switch
Super
2.
Nintendo.
Yeah, but there's a different connotation now. I
No, of
think
course I know.
if you're back talking with if you're trying to communicate with a mainstream audience again, because people already think, oh, I'm going to play the Super Nintendo, right? That's just that just is Nintendo. That's just sort of a homogenous Nintendo word. If you want a new system, you got to communicate very clearly. This is the Switch 2, or something
Sure.
like that,
Mhm.
which I don't think they're not gonna call it that. But I think Super
No, yeah, I
Nintendo
understand.
Switch for an upgrade is fine.
Sure. We are getting. This is my next prediction. I'm not that confident about it, but I think it's a good idea. Is it we're getting the next mainline Fire Emblem this year, and it's got a bigger emphasis on open world.
That's very interesting.
Nothing to say about it? No comments?
Well, I have to let it percolate in my mind. I
In what
mean,
way? I mean,
well,
I think it's pretty safe. we've gotten. I have the Wikipedia page for the Fire Emblem franchise open right now. We've gotten every 2 years. The only gap being Awakening to Fates. Every 2 years has been a mainline Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, but I kind of think Awakening to Fates and then Fates to Three Houses are really the only gaps that matter because modern Fire Emblem is so different. I think what's more likely is we get another remake of some variety this year on a bigger scale, like
Hmm.
Shadows of Valentina Boots, whatever
Yeah.
the fucking game's called. Um, so I don't know if I'm on board with you completely in terms of a brand new game, but new Fire Emblem content this year I think makes a lot of sense.
Well, I think the idea that I'm going with here is that um I think that the resurgence of Fire Emblem popularity
Yeah.
with Awakening and then Phase Three Houses. This is the Switch era is completely something new
Yeah.
for Fire Emblem fan base and the resurgence of that popularity. So even if it's not a huge upgrade, if it's not a pretty major change between games, it's a solid new entry in the Fire Emblem franchise that uses the bones of Three Houses, but has an expansion in terms of the open world that was with the school in Three Houses, but this one's even more. I think that
Yeah.
that's not super hard to develop for. I think that raises hype a little more than a remake, and continues the series momentum a little bit better.
I don't know if necessarily raising more hype than bringing like fucking Ike or Marth's game back. Oh no, we already got Marth's game back. But Ike, fucking here's big man, got big sword. You know him from fucking Smash Brothers, right? I don't know. I just think that they're gonna want a little bit more time to really
Hmm.
polish things up and make that game look better and actually run better
Sure.
and just I think there's a little bit more work to be done before the next main game, personally. But I love Three Houses, so I'd love to see the next main Fire Emblem game
We're
this
gonna
year.
fucking play it anyway. So
Of course I played anyway. I
yeah,
fucking play anything Nintendo releases this year
yeah.
anyway. Unless it's Xenoblade, then I probably won't. Okay, so I'm looking at my list. I actually only have one left
Yeah, same here.
because all my other ones have been doubled up. Now this one, this is a slider, right? Captain Toad Treasure Tracker 2,
Okay,
I think, is
that's
the
reasonable.
other holiday game. It's been so fucking
On
long
top of
since
Zelda and Pokemon.
no, Zelda I think is fall. I think we got the new Switch in like late fall, like October-ish time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Zelda and that, then you fucking get Pokemon November as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Then Captain Toad maybe December. I mean, that's when it came out on Wii U, December
Sure.
5th or something like that. I don't remember exactly. It's 2014. As a young boy, I don't have my dates straight for back then. But I think it's time. I think that Captain Toad has proven to be a hit, and it is not a huge lift to make another one. I don't understand why we don't get these more often. Just
Yeah.
these fun puzzle type games. I almost think you turned Captain Toad. This is fucking blasphemous, but I think you turned Captain Toad almost into the new Mario versus Donkey Kong
Hmm.
mini madness, whatever. Start pumping out more Captain Toad puzzles. I know my girlfriend loves Captain Toad. I think Captain Toad is a completely serviceable puzzle platformer,
Mm-hmm.
but she loves Captain Toad. It'd make her very happy to get Captain Toad, and
It's a
I think that
puzzle unplatformer. You do zero
yeah.
platforming in those games because
Well,
you
you do
can't.
atypical platforming,
Yeah, but also fuck you.
but I think that there's a lot of room to build on the foundation of
I
Treasure
totally
Tracker.
agree. I've been expecting a Treasure Tracker sequel for a long time. I
Yeah,
have an old list from back when the Switch was first. I was first getting into it of games that I'm like, oh, this is no brainer. And,
yeah.
and I think the main two that I had on there was a second or a sequel to Treasure Tracker and a sequel to Pokken. I'm surprised that we haven't gotten either of those. And I'm not making that prediction right now, but I've been
Yeah.
thinking of that for a long time, and it's kind of weird that we haven't, because there's clearly a great formula there that I think could be expanded upon.
Hmm.
My final one. This is an underwhelming one to end on, but while it might sound a little strange, I think we get Age of Calamity DLC.
Um. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to talk about there.
Yeah.
I haven't played the game. I'm not familiar with the Muso games in the slightest, but I just think somehow tie that into the 35th anniversary. Age of Calamity DLC.
I mean, you could fill a landfill with all of the DLC that the first Hyrule Warriors game got, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got some for Age of Calamity.
Yeah.
Uh, I think a landfill is also equitable to the quality of Age of Calamity, so I wouldn't be
Jesus Christ.
especially excited. I don't hate it that much. The game's fine. The game's totally fine. It's a really solid 6 out of 10, I'd say. But I think that's a good prediction, and that's probably going to happen. I can see that being like an early year. Here's a Twitter subtweet. Here's fucking play as Tingle. Who cares? Something like that.
Mhm.
But Tucker, I think it's time to talk about some predictions and hopes and dreams from our Discord friends.
From our community.
Yes.
Yes.
So the first one here is from Ashan, who says, I really, 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 really want an Ocarina of Time remake for Switch. I'll meet him in the middle on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very likely that we could get a port of the N64 ROM of Ocarina of Time on Switch. I think that's pretty likely. But I don't personally
The
think that
weakest meat in the middle of all time.
it's really
You're
not a
wrong. Give
compromise
this
at all.
crappier version.
I just don't see that being in the cards, frankly.
Mhm.
As much as people want that, I mean, if Mario 64 can't even get touched up at all, I don't think Ocarina of Time can, especially when it already got its new version. We had a little bit of a debate in our Discord. We always have spirited debates, such as, is Ocarina of Time 3D a remake, remaster? So let's just say the upgraded version of Ocarina of Time already exists. So I don't think we're going to see a new game in that respect.
Okay, I will find the next one because I just want to have some input on this. Alex says there will be a new Fire Emblem game this year, 100%. I don't know if that was the next one down.
We did chat about that already.
We did, but I just wanted to read it out. He is the biggest Fire Emblem fan I know.
Yes.
I don't know how much he knows about the development cycles, but I mean, he is the biggest Fire Emblem fan that I'm familiar with. So I'll defer to him on that.
Let's hop into this one from Abhi, who wrote us a pretty solid little prediction paragraph here. I'll read it out in full. My hope is that Nintendo is a bit more consistent this year with their releases and they don't get rid of directs. By consistent, I mean spreading out the releases. Even if we don't get that many, I would at least want them evenly spread out. I hope that instead of just shadow dropping stuff, they hold some stuff back and then put it all into a direct. Finally, I hope they do Legend of Zelda justice this year.
I mean, a couple of those we've already touched on. Abram obviously disagrees with the directs thing. I do think that this year will be a little more consistent in terms of game releases. But honestly, I'm not holding my cards too close to it. Wait, something about cards and chests. I don't know what the correct use of that.
Not really the phrase in
but
this context you're looking for, but I know what you mean. You're not counting your chickens.
yeah, I'm not an apple.
I do hope and do think that the release calendar will be a little bit more balanced because I think they don't have to contend with global factors as much.
Mhm.
I think they can be a little bit more deliberate when they put games out, for sure. And I hope that they stop fucking shadow dropping stuff because it
Yeah.
is tiresome.
It is
It's very tiresome.
Let's see. Oh God, do I read the Dexon paragraph here?
Go for it.
The next one. All right. A new friend of the channel, Dexon, says, I just hope that they do not screw up Legend of Zelda's 35th anniversary. I would love something like the HD Wii U ports to come over, as I've never played them. We did talk about that. As well as standalone Skyward Sword like they did with 3 Wii World. And as it is Skyward Sword's 10th anniversary, it would be nice for a nice little Switch release. I'm also hoping for more information on the Breath of the Wild sequel, as some information on Shin Megami Tensei 5 and Bayonetta 3. We didn't talk about either of those, but I think information at least is likely for both those. I don't think releases not necessarily. Actually, I don't know that much about Shin Megami Tensei, so I won't.
That's confirmed for 2021, I believe.
Well, fuck me then. Also anything on Metroid would be a plus. Some kind of Donkey Kong game, well, Donkey King, but I think we know game to celebrate their 40th would be nice too. So I think we actually did touch about most of that. There are of course other games coming out this year from other companies that are Switch exclusives that we didn't touch on. Bayonetta 3 is just a fucking enigma out there in the wilderness. And I don't know anything about Shin Megami Tensei. Honestly, I don't even know what the gameplay of those games look like.
It's kind of like Persona, from what I understand.
Well, no, Persona is a Shin Megami Tensei spinoff.
I don't care. Here's what I do care about, though. Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
The X factor is if Grezzo is going to be doing a Skyward Sword port for Switch. I think that's pretty possible. I wouldn't put a ton of stock in that personally, but it's possible. What a fucking non-committal answer for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no. We're not gonna get that this year.
Yeah, I mean, Skyward Sword for me is sort of the enigma of the Zelda franchise. I mean, it hasn't had much touched upon of it since then. Obviously, no re-release. and it's kind of the black sheep in terms of division. I would say, as sort of more of an outsider of the Zelda franchise, I would like to see it get a second chance. I think that I think Switch is a perfect way to do that, and polishing out the shoehorned motion controls, which a lot of people had an issue with, I think would give that game's design a little bit of a boost that maybe people would be a little more receptive to it. And it would be fun for the 10th anniversary. I mean, that was the anniversary game, as you said, and now we're on another anniversary. So
I think the biggest problem with Skyward Sword is that those motion controls are so intrinsic to what makes that game work. It could be
mhm.
really awkward to not have them. Like some of the puzzles where there's like an eye on top of a door, so you gotta fucking use your sword to confuse the eye so it gets dizzy, right, and blows up, or slashing an enemy a very particular way.
Yeah.
How do you recreate that with buttons and sticks in a way that feels natural, you know?
Hmm.
Unless you do gyro motion in the Joy-Con and TV play and touchscreen and handheld, but I
Or
don't
gyro
know.
with the whole Switch.
You could, but I think that gets into a kind of a weird territory of here we go, we're playing the open the door part of fucking Skyward Sword, you know? I think that it's hard to
I mean, you
comfortably
aimed like
recreate the
that in the
motion.
3DS Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
I don't think that's unlikely. I think that's a solid solution for that. I think that
it
would be relegated to those specific segments where it does feel a little more necessary. Obviously, you wouldn't be fucking shaking your Switch every which way to do combat, but
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's not as crazy as you're thinking it might be.
I think the difference is that the motion control is so intrinsic to what Skyward Sword is,
Hmm.
and those gyroscope things in the 3DS Zelda
Yeah, those
games
were
were
additive,
those are just additive, and you could control just a stick. And some of that was gimmicky. Hey, it's launching your 3DS. This thing has a fucking gyroscope in it to turn your system
but
on it.
also
You know?
there's a really good gyro controls.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, they're gyro controls, so they're always good.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I just don't think that Skyward Sword is going to get redone. I think that's kind of
We'll
going to
see.
fucking fade away to time. Speaking of Zelda, speaking of that exactly, Nisk says, I honestly don't want too many ports for Zelda. I agree. Give me those HD games because they'll take no effort on anyone's behalf and put them on Switch so more people can play them. But focus this year on Breath of the Wild 2.
Hmm.
Let Grezzo make a brand new 2D Zelda game. That'd be awesome.
That would be really interesting. As someone who has just gotten into Zelda and specifically 2D Zelda, a 2D one would be that would be good get for me. Although I still have
Yeah,
to play Link's Awakening remake.
very good.
Very good. All right, well, I think we're fucking done here, and maybe at some point throughout the year we'll come up with a point system to see if we were right or wrong on this and see who did end up predicting more correct things. Of course, I played a little bit safer, but sometimes Nintendo isn't very safe, and you went out there with some of them. Some of those probably not gonna happen. I would say, honestly, we're idiots, and Nintendo does whatever the fuck they want. So I think we covered a lot of bases, though. I think that's coming at it from different angles on our predictions.
Yeah.
Something here is right, which is me fun.
Yeah, I do anticipate at least one of our predictions to be correct between the two of us.
It'd be kind of funny if it wasn't, though.
We'd be in for a fucking year and a half if we were wrong about literally everything we just said. But I think we're done here. Everyone be sure to leave your predictions in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe. Frankly, I should have said at the beginning of the video too, but I did the Discord plug, so I'm halfway there.
Yeah, we're
We'll be
getting used to this
back.
YouTube thing.
Yeah.
We'll be back, yeah.
Yeah, we will. The Wii U is held together by fucking peanut butter. Right?
Yeah, let's fuck.
That